All right, we are live. Hi, guys. Welcome to the episode 5 recap show. I'm Sabrina, and we have some special guests here today. So, if you guys want to introduce yourselves real quick.
Hi, I'm Nick. I competed on season 1 of Syrvivor and have since graduated, but I'm a big fan of Syracuse, so here I am.
I'm Brenda. I am the president of Ballviver. And yeah.
I'm Shane. I am the co-founder of Scotty Survivor and competitor, dare I say?
T. Oh, man. Oh, my God. Sorry. I feel so chaotic right now.
You're good.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess let's get into the episode. I would say let's let some viewers roll in right now, but this will be on our channel anyway, so get right into it. A chaotic Groundhog Day. Let's go. All right, so this is the transition episode. The last time we saw this was in season 2, where only a few people were safe, couldn't vote in a vote off, and everyone merged together and worked together for a little bit. So that happened again this time. So for Heroes Villains, we are going into this transition with a 9-7 split, majority heroes. So right off the bat, what does that mean for the heroes and what does that mean for the villains, where only 4 people can be immune and can't vote?
That was tough. I mean, especially because in that kind of situation, you almost hope that the heroes are the people that get the immunity and can't go because that could have really changed this whole situation. The fact of the matter is that Jack and Abby were really good at Pong, and Hannah got lucky. So that really screwed over the rest of the 4. Um, yeah, that situation just sucks. Like with 4 people safe, there's really 5 people safe, right? 5. There's
Yeah.
not much you can do in that like sort of minority when it's so clearly like they're going to stick together, which I was kind of hoping they wouldn't, but like there was none of that. So
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't think about what Shane just said about like maybe it could have been like a thing where they like threw it kind of towards the heroes, just so that way they lost 4 votes right there. And then theoretically maybe they would have all agreed to pick a 5th hero for safety as well. Um, so that might have helped them a little bit. But I also like to think that like there's always someone who knows that like within that majority they're at the bottom of the majority. So like you could sway a person here or there, I think.
Mhm. Yeah. There are a lot of things that could have happened, I guess, that could have benefited the villains if all heroes had won. But alas, the breakdown of the people who were immune were 2 heroes and 3 villains. So we have Austin and Carl safe for the heroes, and Jack, Abby, and Hannah randomly drawn um, to be safe for the villains. Which we will mark this as Hannah passing her milestone after being the first and only person until now to be voted out during a transition period. So that's exciting. But now we're going into this vote 7-4, Heroes having 7, which is definitely big trouble for the villains. So we're going into them deliberating all that stuff throughout the week. And the villains are saying that the heroes are not responding to them. So what's tea with that? Like, what's up with that?
I mean, I totally understand their point of view. Like, I mean, if there's 7 heroes, they don't even have to consider like what the villains have to say. They have the numbers, and there's really no point in trying to bring one of them in at that point.
I like almost disagree. Like I feel like we're at a point where I mean, I actually agree with your point, but, like, in terms of this, like, point of the game, like, we're about to swap. Like, this is the time to start reaching out and making those connections. Like, from what I've seen, it seems like those 2 teams have been, like, completely separate. I think that this would have been the perfect opportunity for some of those heroes to put themselves in a good spot for some of those villain-like players that will end up being on a team of 5, like, that could go so wrong for somebody so quickly. I feel like this was a huge opportunity, and here at least from what we saw in the edit, maybe there was more, but at least from what we saw, it didn't look like any of them, except for maybe Eli and Mitch took advantage of it, but really not because the one person they said they were gonna save, they didn't. So, yeah.
I definitely agree with Shane a little bit because it's like exactly the same reason. Like they're going into 3 tribes the next episode, and like they knew that they were about to go into a swap because it was this transition like episode. So like having that power, like that information, like you could have used the whole week to like make a new connection and like yeah, maybe figure out which of the villains you want to vote out, but like out of the ones that you're going to keep, you need to make a connection with those people because you have no idea, like it could be you could end up on one of these tribes for one and like be kind of screwed over because you didn't talk to any of them, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, just adding on to that, I think they could have benefited them to, like, kind of use the power players, Jake and Madison, and instead of maybe going to the players that were on the outs. Like, I love Gabby, I think she's really funny, but I think a stronger move would have been to, like, kind of toss the people like Gabby and Owen who are maybe not, like, so integrated, because I think that's gonna have huge voting out the 2 people that they put on the chopping block is gonna have huge repercussions for the heroes moving forward. Like, that's not something that villain Jack is gonna just, like, be like, "I'm so happy about." Like, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think we're gonna see a lot of drama from him. I think that move was really dangerous.
to add on to that too, I think I think exactly what you said was right, and like they could have let's say they targeted Gabby. If they mentioned that Gabby was the only one out of those 4 villains who threw the other villains under the bus, she said that she would vote one of them out. They could have gone and said Gabby said that she was willing to get rid of you guys. Obviously, you're expendable to her, and that could have been their bridge for this upcoming swap. Is they gave them that bit of information and voted out Gabby.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of really good points flying around here. I agree with everything Shane and Nick said, but I also agree with what Brenda said. I mean, I think for like a guaranteed safety for the heroes, like you would stick together, you know? But we're playing Survivor here, you know? I think I think it would have been a great opportunity like during this transition period to make those connections and really start to develop new relationships. Like you don't have to be so upfront about it, but it's a good time to start like chatting and just like make sure that people know that like you want to talk to them. And there just wasn't really much of that, which is interesting, a little boring, I don't know, but I just love drama, so I love watching the drama,
Just
but
one thing I noticed too, it's like the one person who I feel like would have mixed that up and from like Austin saying he was like, I want
Mhm.
to flip, like
Yeah.
that is going to be so dangerous for them next week. I feel like they made a huge mistake letting him slip through. That's just my opinion, but I think they made a mistake there.
It ties into what Jake said at one point in the episode. He said something like, "Give me an inch, I'll go a mile." Like they gave him more than an inch, and he has plenty of wiggle room going into this next week,
Yeah,
especially with
they both
players
do.
acting like that.
I would
Yeah.
also go ahead and say, like, any season 2 player is really in a good spot. I don't think there's been one season 2 player that's been eliminated yet. It's all been season 3. So, I don't know, like, I think you also have to consider, like, their prior
Yeah.
relationships, and that's gonna impact the conversations they're having. Like, Madison
Mhm.
she didn't wanna talk to Holly because she knows Holly doesn't like her. Um, and that could be part of the reason why she went home, 'cause she didn't have that conversation.
I feel like we're about to see like maybe not now, but I feel like we're gonna see like another Jack Hannah standoff. Like I'm just waiting for it because she seems so frustrated with him already. I just am waiting for the moment. I feel like it's coming soon.
Who knows? Who knows? But I don't know. You got to keep watching and see. Um, but yeah, no, the only two heroes who seem to be more flexible with wanting to work with villains, Carl and Austin, of course, are safe this week, so they can't really do anything about that. But for their two games, do you think it's almost better for them personally that they were safe and that they didn't reveal those cards yet?
Absolutely. I think that both of them could have been an easy target for the villains to flip votes onto had they been not safe, especially Austin. I'm actually really because there hasn't been much Austin content, but I'm impressed by him escaping. Like last week, I thought he was for sure toast when they lost. Like I was like, all right, this is the end of Austin, and then like didn't hear much about him. So that's like, I feel like yeah, I don't know. I feel like he could have been an easy person for them to flip votes on. So the fact that he was safe was probably pretty big. And I think Carl is in not as precarious of a position on that original Heroes as Austin was, but generally also like not as integrated into the tribe. So I think had they been not safe, they could have A, been in danger, or B, like completely flipped it on its head.
Yeah. Tea. So much tea there. Yeah, I mean, both of them, from what it seemed, were in favor of keeping Jake. For Austin, that would have been a great shield. Um, for Carl, it just seemed like Jake was someone that he felt like he could work with. And of course, he mentioned that he wanted to get Owen alone because he knew that Owen and Madison were tight. And if anyone remembers from season 3, Owen and Carl were tight there. So that's a relationship he wanted to um like explore and be able to try to get. So for him, voting out Madison would have definitely been in his favor. But here we are in this situation anyway, where Jake stays, and we'll see what happens. But okay, moving on. Let's see. Um, as we kind of touched on a little bit earlier, so we see Gabby embracing this transition and just completely flipping on the villains. Like she's a part of this, she's getting a part of this split, like she's dipping her toe in. Do you think that was a good move on her part, to start to mingle with the heroes, kind of like play into their game, kind of start to build those relationships?
Typically, I feel like I would have said no. It wasn't a good move, but the heroes didn't really react the way that I guess I expected them to react. They all were like, "Oh, cool, she's willing to flip. That's a number in the future, so we're gonna keep her around." So, I guess it was a good move for her, and I guess she played that right, and that has more to do with, like, reading those relationships, and she did it well, I guess. Yeah.
I think it's a good short-term move for her. Like, I think it will get her a couple extra weeks. In the long term, I think that she's gonna have this perception of being kind of wishy-washy and, like, ready to flip on whoever, and we kinda already got the sense that the villains are not in the strongest favor of her, so, like, I feel like they will easily flip on her in a dime, and the heroes could easily do that if she were to flip back. So, I think it's good for now because it's gonna save her for a couple weeks, but I think she in my opinion, I see her going early merge.
Yeah, and just the fact that she said she's willing to vote out a villain, I think that's what made the heroes be like, "Okay, we'll keep you around," because the other villains, they wanted to have that conversation, but they also were not gonna be willing to vote out another villain. But yeah, short term, not long term.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But in all of this craziness, during transition, there is a lot of shade being thrown all over the place. We've got a lot of drama this week. So first off, we have um, Jake turning into Snake and calling out all the heroes for their loyal gameplay, all of that stuff. He kind of digs into Kat, he digs into Derek. I don't know. What do you think of Snake reappearing in Heroes versus Villains?
I'll be honest, I actually didn't see season 3, so I don't know what his game was like in that season, but, like, I don't know. I get his point of view because, like, nobody's willing to talk to him, but, like, as a Derek fan, I'm like, yeah, I would want to be loyal to Derek, like, who wouldn't wanna be? But I guess Jake doesn't like the loyalty.
I think oh, you go, Nick.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I'm living for it. Like, I like that he's about to play. I like to watch a messy player like start to be messy and call people out. Because like I don't know who that would remind me of, but um, yeah, I like to see that. It's entertaining.
What I love about Jake as a college survivor character is that he plays his cards very close to his chest. Like he doesn't like he says all these things in confessionals, but he doesn't act on all of them. Or at least appearingly so. Like maybe there are other conversations like via text that he is calling them out, but like from what it sounds like, he's just voicing his opinions to the camera, and that's what makes a great confessionalist. I love that he's not overplaying and complaining about that to other people because that would have gotten him the boot. I think he played his cards exactly right to stay in the game. And I think that he is willing to cause drama later. And like Nick said, like you give him an inch and he'll take it and make it a mile. And I really think that's true. Like I feel like that was like I personally would have probably voted for Jake there. Like that was I think it's gonna have like big repercussions moving forward. So yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, he certainly had a lot of character moments this episode, but yeah, I mean, as we saw in season 1, he was a super dangerous player. I mean, he made it all the way to the end. I mean, we could see how people could be using that as like as something good for them, like in the sense of a shield, but um that could be good for now, but what about like the next vote? And what do you do then? Um, but yeah, then of course we have the resurfacing Madison and Holly drama from season 3, um, and we see how the talk on the heroes kind of spreads around. We've got all these different perspectives, all of this stuff happening. So what do you guys make out of that?
I think sometimes people get too caught up in the second time playing. I think that they get too caught up in like, how did this person play their game the last time I played with them? And it might be hard to get out of that like headspace, but like I think that she's thinking, oh, Holly would never like work with me or whatever because of how they played season 3. Where was it season 3 that they were on? Um, but it's a different season with a whole different cast, and so Holly could be prioritizing. I want to keep my season 3 person in, and she won't know because she's not having that conversation.
Mhm.
But I would
Yeah.
also say that it's interesting because Hannah's playing it totally differently. She's on a tribe with teammates from season 2, but she's not keeping those same grudges. She's being more open about working with anybody. But Madison, she's in the mindset of season 3 still because it was so recent
Mhm.
where she isn't willing to go to her enemy, I guess, in this season.
I feel like they both kind of do that. Like they're both like, "Oh, I think Holly hates me. Oh, I think Madison hates me." When in reality, if they probably just had a conversation, they could have worked things out and realized that it was in both of their best interests to keep each other around. Madison because she is a threat, and Holly because everybody wants her out. So, I mean, I feel like both of them could have talked to each other and salvaged that. With Cassidy, not so sure. Um, she seemed pretty set. So Bahali for sure.
Yeah. I guess they could have used the beef to their advantage, but alas. Um, but just to, I guess, talk about it since we've mentioned it a few times, do you think since everyone who's been voted out so far has been from season 3, well, with the exception of Paul from season 1, do you think coming into a season like this after playing so recently has that big of an impact?
It does when that many cast members are on this season. Like, if you look at the breakdown of the people that played, there is an overwhelmingly large number of season 3 people. I don't know the exact numbers, but like it seems mostly season 3 with a few season 1 and then like second season 2. So like season 3 is definitely dominated, and that's why so many of them are going out, is because they had more numbers to begin with. And like it's been a huge storyline throughout the season of like season 3 beef because there was so much. The other 2 seasons had a year or longer to get over whatever they had problems with each other. Like I think that's always a huge thing when you have an all-star season, like the people that just came off a season, that especially a winter season where it's like they only probably had like 3 or 4 weeks to get over whatever they were feeling. Like if you have a summer, at least you have that time in between, but they're coming off real fresh.
Having played myself, I think about like how much time it took me to like stop being like, oh my God, like I played a perfect game and like I don't know why I got voted out. You know what I mean? That type of thing. And really sit down and think about, okay, what could I have done better? Like what strategies would have worked. So these people who played in older seasons have had all that time as opposed to the season 3 people. And so now they are actually implementing these strategies that they've had all this time to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with what both of you said, but I think we also have to consider like how season 1 and 2 have both aired. So everybody who's probably was on season 3, they've seen how those players have played before. So at least they know like what they're getting. But with season 3 players, they might not know the game they played. It's unbroadcasted. So I guess maybe that could be part of like a threat too, not knowing.
Absolutely.
What I've been seeing from the older players too is like them leaning into their past games, where I feel like the season 3 people have been so afraid of it. Like they're all just like, I feel like maybe part of Madison's downfall was that she was so worried about her perception. Like if I were in that spot, like I probably would have just leaned into it, been like, hey, yeah, I did make it to the end, but like that's why I'm a good person to keep around, because I'm always going to be wanted out before you. Like, I mean, which I think she did. I think they just were not receptive to her plea, which sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, lots of tensions, especially from season 3. But we do see a little bit of season 2 tension going on kind of in Jack's mind, where he has this opportunity to play his idol, use Madison's duplicator, and pull off something super big here. So do you think, I mean, I think that this is kind of like a different situation from season 2, but I mean, Jack, in season 2 gave his idol away, all of that. And we saw how all of that played out. But do you think that move would have benefited them going forward? Like maybe, they're safe right now, we have the villains intact right now, but they're still down in numbers. What happens next? Now they're down an idol and they're down this duplicator.
I feel like it would have put too much of a target on Jack too soon, because in last week, like the Superlatives Challenge, everybody was voting Jack for being like the ringleader of the villains. And if he played that idol, he's just like leading into that perception, even though it's really not the case on the villains tribe.
On top of that too, it's like don't give anyone your idol. Like don't like do that ever. That's like so dumb. But like you said, he gave away his idol on season 2, and I think it also connects what I said to earlier, learning from your previous mistakes and what you could have done better. He's implementing this new idea. Obviously, he thought about it, but he ultimately decided that it was a bad idea, and I agree with him that it probably would have been in the long run a bad idea for him.
I think where my like kind of back and forth on this one goes is that it wasn't only his idol. Like it technically was Jake's too. Like Jake also found it. So like I don't know. I feel like in that situation, like not that I think giving somebody an idol is a good idea because I don't. And I well, unless you like really need that person in the game. But I actually kind of do think that Jack needed Madison to a degree. And so it's kind of shocking watching his thought process, even though it makes a ton of sense. I was shocked that he was willing to lose her, um, or not put in the work to maybe keep her, and push it on to somebody else. Like I feel like if you're in a position where you're safe, like why not? You have an idol, and like go to bat for your allies. Like if you're not going to give them the idol, like I think losing Madison is going to really hit his game.
Maybe this is the difference between a hero and a villain, but if the idol's in my hands, it's mine. I don't care who was with me when I found it. I don't care if it was handed to me to hold on to. It's mine now. You're not going to get back. It is mine.
I mean, I think that yeah, you're right.
Fair enough. Fair enough. As someone who has not held an idol, I could not say what I do, honestly. But yeah, I mean, I think if it's yours, you know? Like that's valuable. It's super valuable. Um, but yeah, I mean, we could have seen some super crazy. Oh, we have Jake in the comments saying,
Thank you
even though
for agreeing, Jake.
even though Jack and I found that idol together, I never felt like that was my idol. Haha. Um,
And you should beg for it. You should beg for it. I would too.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you're in that situation, of course, you got to pull all the strings, you know, when you're that close to going home. Absolutely. Um, but we saw nothing was used. We get to the vote off. The people who are safe are, you know, observing, they're watching this all go down. We see Jack sitting kicked back in his sunglasses, just right behind Luke. And ultimately, we see Madison get voted out in this split vote. So now that we've seen everything that happened, I mean, we've obviously that's what we've been talking about this entire show, how this is going to impact. But like, decisions done, how will this affect them going into a swap?
I mean, it's hard to say because while the heroes still have their majority and now they have a bigger majority, it's three separate tribes. It seemed like it was three separate tribes, um, and they could easily get screwed over. Um, you never know. So I don't know. They didn't really do a very social game this week, so we'll see how that hinders them. I think it will hinder them at some point, but maybe not initially.
Adding on to that, they're being drafted by three people who have no concept of any of the relationships or any sort of like. First of all, fantastic that you all were able to get all of those people. Like I'm mind blown, but they have no clue what's happening in this game. Like that you never know what's gonna happen in Survivors. So to like bank on having this like super majority, you can never really do it. And I think like too, like Jake is gonna be out for blood now. Like he missed going home by one vote. Like that was not like a week 3 where the votes like a couple votes came his way. Like this was like they intentionally split it on him in case Madison played an idol. Like he's not gonna just let that go, in my opinion, and nor should he. I feel like his back is against the wall, and I feel like that's probably when he plays best. So I'm nervous for the heroes. Like I think they mess with the wrong person.
Well, damn. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, while we're here, we have a special guest coming into the show, making a now recap show debut as a contestant. We have Madison. Hi, Madison. Oh my God.
Hello, this is Lily.
Hi, Lily.
Hi, Lily.
My God, wonderful. Madison, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I mean, I was a little anxious watching back the episode, so I only watched it actually today. So I'm very fresh and I have lots of things to say. But I'm happy to be here, and I just want to start off before I say anything that like this club means everything to me. I've had so much fun meeting people from Syracuse, other schools like Lily. um, but it means a lot to me and it got me through a lot. So much kudos to Survivor Syracuse as a club.
Word. Yeah, great club.
Word.
Gold tier Survivor Club for sure.
A fun place to be for sure. But yeah, I mean, I guess since this is the first time that you ran through the episode, I don't know, how are you feeling? Like what are your thoughts? What's going on in your mind?
Well, I do think that like I did reach out first. I did reach out to Cassidy, and like I would have reached out to Holly if that had gone well. It wasn't. I think that was just like a little bit of a misconception because like I was trying, but I wasn't gonna waste my time. And already, even Carl was like, "Oh, Madison reaching out to me. That's so suspicious. I don't know how that's suspicious when you're next on the chopping block, like you're supposed to be reaching out to everyone." But I know that there was this already a perception of me out there as someone who's manipulative and like an amazing liar. So it just seemed two-faced to go to the one person that I knew, like, what could I have possibly said to Holly? Because as much as I was still caught up in season 3, I feel like everyone was, like, coming from season 3. Because especially because I made it to the end, like it was extremely fresh. Like literally weeks have since I had finished playing Survivor. But yeah, I mean, it was a cool thing to watch. I enjoyed the challenge. I'm usually better at beer pong, I must say.
Yeah, and what a challenge it was. That was super fun watching you guys do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, super fun. Super fun challenge. But yeah, season 3 was definitely super fresh. I didn't even think about like that people were coming off of like different placements. So like some had kind of more time to ponder than others. So that's also pretty interesting. But yeah. So I mean, hopefully all is good now. But
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Everything is good. I am friends with Holly. I think I'm friends with Gabby. Like, I think everything's good. So I'm not like angry. I just think it was surprising watching some stuff back and seeing actually how the vote distribution went, because I felt the people who were actually like being like, oh, maybe we prefer Jake to go home over Madison were the people who voted for me. And I think that's just how they split the votes. But it was definitely like, what the heck? What was that? But yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, it was an interesting vote distribution, for sure. But so it goes when the heroes are splitting the votes. I don't know. But I guess getting into it, I don't know. So Madison, what would you say the highlight was of playing heroes versus villains?
Yeah, I definitely think the highlight was I was coming off just to so we can put some perspective into where I was coming from. Like I had made it to the end. I felt really good about my game. But at the end of the day, I did not get any votes. I didn't really feel like people saw me as a good Survivor player. I didn't really feel that I was necessarily respected in the club as like, oh yeah, Madison. Like I did not have my Maddie stands yet. It was just me. So it was I definitely felt like I had something to prove. And though I wasn't in it for like terribly long, I felt like, hey, I got out Kevin, I got out Lydia, like Paul went home. Like I didn't do badly. I just think it was nice, and I'm very grateful I had the opportunity to play again, first of all, but also like try to prove myself a little bit, you know?
Totally, totally. I mean, heroes versus villains is definitely the time to like do that when coming into a all-star season. I guess how would playing in season 3 as like a fresh new player, how does that compare to coming back as an all-star?
I think my experience was a little skewed just because it was coming off of a season that was extremely fresh and there was just such a large number of people coming back from the season. Also, it was an all-star season with off of 3 seasons. Like, that's just tough to do. But I felt that when I said I'd play again, I was just like, it could be all stars, it could be like newbies. I was hoping it'd be like newbies, honestly, because I felt like I hadn't seen my season. I could make new friends. No beef was there. I was like ready for a fresh start. Like, let's go. But it was heroes versus villains, and I was a villain. And that's like, I already have this title on my back of like manipulative, fake idol, horrible. So that's like tough to play with, and especially when you're going against the people who like have that idea, like started that idea. Like, I think I had, when you watch season 3, I had a hero edit, but because of the perceptions within the club, I was a villain. And watching back, I think, like, I don't know, Maddie stands think Jason Ding thinks I'm a hero. So it just depends on the person, but yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Well, hero or villain, you're Madison. You play your game. Like,
Thanks.
despite any labels that an all-star season could give you, I mean, I think you owned your game this season. You made those connections with those season 2 people who like just kind of took, who are taking this season by the horns. Yeah. Does anyone else here have any questions?
I have a couple more things to say. Could I go?
Oh, yeah, go.
Okay.
And I'll ask the question.
So I think that if it was a different breakdown, if like maybe Jack wasn't safe, or especially if Hannah was not safe, I would have been fine. Like, I'm sorry, but Hannah would have gone. She was done for. Same with like if Jake was safe, or like, I think if there was even a little slight variation of people who did or did not have a vote, like if Holly didn't have a vote, maybe if Carl, like, I don't know, Carl wanted me gone. I don't know. But I think it's just interesting to see, like, Jake and I both had our backs against the wall. Like, there was limitations to what we could do, and we were like clawing. And at the end of the day, I think it came down to like who had the most remaining beef. And is that necessarily fair with like a season 1, season 3 just ending? I don't think it's fair to put on me like, oh, I have all these, like, oh, I'm still angry from season 3 when it was fresh to everyone. Even season 2, like, they had their reunion and all that beef was fresh going into season 4. So it depends. I also would like to say real quick, that Jake did not give me advice. Like, I didn't like that lower third. Like, I was doing what I wanted to do to crawl my way. Like, I play my own game. I don't listen to anyone else. Jake was not telling me what to do. I didn't like that lower third, like taking Snake's advice. No, I play my own game. All right, I'm ready.
All right. Sorry about that. We just work with the footage we're given. But yeah, I mean, I think you definitely played your own game. But also, do you have Gus with you by any chance?
Oh my gosh, he's in the other room. Would you like me to get him?
Whatever you want to do.
All right, I will be right back.
Sweet. While we're waiting, I don't know.
Voguing, just like Vogue right now.
For sure.
I just want to comment on something she said about like her like villain perception. I was shocked when Madison was on the villains. Like, I mean, yeah, like she did her whole like fake idol thing, but like I don't think that, like, compared to some of these people that are like 100% villains, like Hannah, Jack, like Jake, like Madison villain.
Hello, Gus.
What? Yeah, I was shocked by that.
Appreciate it. Gus has his sweater on because it's cold out. I mean, his scarf, excuse me.
Nice.
To add on to what Shane just said too, I think that like it has a lot to do with exactly what Shane and Maddie just said. Like, she had this perception that she's a hero while she's playing, and the people who are Maddie stans have this perception that she's a hero, but like the reason she's a villain was because of the perceptions of people within the club. The majority of the club is season 3, so you know that's probably why that's the box that she ended up in. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I did have a question though too. So you said that it was like just a couple weeks since you were, you know, a finalist on season 3 to playing on the season. Do you think that like because it was so quick, did you come into season 4 maybe playing a little too hard at all? Do you think looking back on it now you might have played a little like slower game, or do you think because you just ended the season you were like already just playing fast, so you continued playing fast?
Yeah, in my opinion, I had to kind of play like a really good social game right off the bat because people were gunning for me. Like they want to be gone. So if I had not made the relationships that I did, I would have been voted out first, second, third, fourth. Like it isn't that much better. But again, like I wasn't in a bad position heading into this transition. It's just kind of how it worked out. So I think I wasn't necessarily playing like horribly hard, but like I really focused on those social relationships, and I think I played the right amount and to some extent like limitations to what I could have done this week.
Luck of the cards.
Absolutely.
I-
And that's what Survivor
Honestly,
is.
I was shocked. Like from the edit and everything leading up to this, I thought you were in a fantastic position. So like to see you leave this early was shocking. Like I thought you were making a deep run based on what we'd seen. So
Crazy stuff.
Thank you. And thank
kudos to
you.
the editing team for throwing me off my scent. I was shocked.
You did play very well though, I will say. You played very well both of the seasons that you played in.
Thank you. My ego just
For sure. Any other questions from here on the live stream, from the comments? We have a comment from Jake.
Thank you, Jake. You're a great player.
Lovely. Any last words from anyone? Or any last
I want to hear
words
something from
from
Brenda.
Madison or yeah.
Brenda, tell me something. I played with you.
I know, it's good to see you again. Not really related to Survivor, but I was actually thinking about Gus last night. Like for real, like Gus. I was doing my math homework and I wrote Gus on my paper, and I just thought of Gettysburg, USA, and I just thought of you right then and there.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Icon.
I'm loving this charity game reunion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The Survivor Syracuse ALS charity game is on our channel if you have 8 hours to kill and want to watch it back, you go for it if you want. But yeah, I guess we do have a little reunion going on here. Players, production, guest judge. I mean, come on, what more could you ever want?
I'll say to the viewers, I watched all 8 hours of it. I sat there and watched it all. It was pretty good.
Somebody who was in it for all 8 hours. I don't think my brain was, I don't think I slept. Like I was just too tired.
Fair.
Do you want me to speak on some things that like I felt leaving? Like
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
how did you feel about, like, I guess that's my question, like, how did you feel about the, like, Jack not giving you the idol and then him, like, because to me, that was, like, very bold of him to sit there the way he did. I would have been pissed.
Yeah,
if
part
that
of it
were me.
was the edit. I do recall like when I was voted out, he like stormed out or something very dramatic, and Jack
Oh.
like so like he wasn't relaxed by any means. And I remember I saw his girlfriend Erica like come in, so I was like maybe he forgot it, and Erica was like giving it to him that he would play the idol thing, and I was like maybe there's hope. But we had like an honest conversation, and being someone who had 2 idols, and like one of my biggest regrets from season 3 was not saving Owen. I feel like I would have been in a better position. I would have had a more flashy move to tell the jury if I had saved Owen, because I played the under the radar game. I got to the end, but like to some extent, like, you're too under the radar sometimes for people. Jack's not playing under the radar. Everyone views him as the head of the villains. However, I was his number 2, and he did say that. So, like, his number 1, but, like, I with the spreadsheets, I view, like, yourself as number 1. So it was surprising. It was surprising to see. I get it. I'm not mad about it. He's apologized. But we'll see how it plays out for him. I don't think it was necessarily a bad move, but I do think there would have been benefits 100% to both me and Jake staying, because a hero probably went out. Like, Holly sure probably would have played her idol, but like Kat going home would have been interesting.
Just as a thing to Jake's little comment there, I more meant the sunglasses and the jacket. Like, I mean, I kind of chuckled, but like, I was like, damn, that's bold of him.
Poker
Sunglasses inside. Sometimes it's the vibe, I guess. Sometimes the fluorescence in Hall of Languages are just a little bit too much, it seems. But yeah. All right. Any last words before we move on to our superlatives?
Am I allowed to stay for superlatives? I can be quiet.
Sure. Why not?
But I will say my last little piece. So thankful for playing again. Thank you to all the support that I've gotten. And yeah, we'll see who wins. I still want a villain to win. So
Word. Thank you so much for coming on. Very fun. Very good conversation here, as always. But yeah, so to close us off, let's just get into a couple superlatives. So episode 5, who is the MVP? Who is it? I don't know. Maybe multiple.
I'm going to say Jake, just because I feel like he was empowered this episode, and so we're going to see more from him for sure from now on.
Definitely Jake. I mean, I feel like Eli is playing a really, really solid game, and he just continues to gain power. Like, I'm just like shocked that nobody, like, the perception of him is so interesting too. Like, they said him, Mitch, and Cam were a trio, but like, that's not the trio that I was thinking of. So at all. But yeah, definitely Jake and Eli for me. And then I think the people safe, kudos to Hannah and Austin for getting through the transition.
Yeah, I was also gonna say Austin, just to switch it up from you guys, but because Austin's positioning himself to where if he wants to flip from the heroes, he can, and if he wants to stay, he hasn't betrayed that hero tribe yet, so he's in a pretty good place.
I want to say too that I definitely have my eyes on Hannah a little bit, just because she's known to be extremely smart and strategic and little sneaky, and so maybe we haven't gotten a lot of that this season, but we'll see. I have my eyes on her.
For sure. Yeah. I think those are all pretty good answers for MVP. I mean, yeah, Jake definitely like pulled everything he needed to get through this vote. I mean, like, there's so much going on. It'll be very exciting to see what goes on next. But yeah, and also this was definitely an immunity that both Austin and Hannah needed. So I think them having that and now having the flexibility to work within that is definitely good for them. And MVP worthy. I don't know. But yeah. And then I guess to continue, least valuable player, LVP.
I would say maybe Cassidy, because she's really just following Holly at this point. Like, I haven't seen her play her own game.
Fair.
I guess I'm gonna have to agree. There's a lot of big players on this season, so it's hard to like pick. But I guess I agree with Brenda on that.
Yeah, I don't know. This is tough. I feel like Cassidy's in a better position than Holly though, and that's probably why she's following her, is because if I were Cassidy, I would latch myself onto Holly because she's gonna be a bigger threat than me. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I feel like, yeah, I don't know. Um, I guess I'm just gonna go with Kat because I just don't know where her positioning is. Her, I can't really tell where her, Cam, and Carl stand in the game. Like, I feel like they don't have like solid alliances. So, yeah, I feel like they're in trouble in the near future. But I don't want to say least valuable because I think they're all doing great. So,
Yeah. No, that's fair. I think everyone's definitely pushing it for a all-star season. I mean, you gotta do what you have to do in something as chaotic as this. And then lastly, I guess like favorite character moment, just favorite moment in general, favorite line perchance, anything.
I've quoted it a couple times since we've been here, but when Jake said, and I'm not just saying it, Jake, because you're here, but I love when you said, "Give me an inch and I'll make it a mile." I think that that's like famous, like that's going to define your game. I think for the rest of the season is when you said that.
Yeah, that was a good one. And then I also liked it when Jack said heroes are just a bunch of cult leaders. I don't know. It was just a small clip, but loved it.
yeah, I think those two for sure. I feel like that was some foreshadowing with Jake, for sure. Um, I also think like not like necessarily like a quote, but like just like Hannah being like, "Not me this time." Transition tribe, like it ain't me. But also like paying homage to Madison, like the spreadsheets. I am so glad that we saw that because I feel like the like you just see the level of like detail that somebody puts into this type of game, and like that's so great to watch, like just to see like how much somebody's really putting in, which also sucks when they get voted out because then you're like, oh my god, they're putting so much in. But like just to see the spreadsheets, like I was like, wow, this is a lot. Like I make spreadsheets too, but like not that in depth.
No one can say you weren't playing the game. That's your proof.
For sure. Absolutely. No, those spreadsheets are detailed and very filled with information. For sure. I mean, there's a lot of gameplay going on there. And yeah, no one can say that we're not playing the game for sure. Um, Personally, my favorite character moment just from editing the episode was just Jake doing this with his finger. Like, just like, I don't know. That was fun. And of course, and I don't know, just every time I went over it, ride, bike, and lie, it just made me giggle a little bit every time. But that's that. But yeah, so that concludes our recap show. So if any of you guys have any last words, I can give you each a little stage moment. I think. Let me try this. Oh, nope, that just made my screen full. All right, Nick, you're up first. Sorry. Sorry.
I'm
You're
muted. Whoops. I wasn't expecting the full screen. I got shook. Okay. Um, Thanks for having me again. I love coming in. I love Survivor Syracuse. It's always it gets more entertaining each season. I swear to God. But you can follow me on Twitter at underscore NLLC underscore.
nice. Then we'll go to, oh my God, bear with me here. I'm so sorry, guys. We'll go to Brenda next. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm super excited for tomorrow night's episode to see how they're bringing in Survivor contestants, but be on the lookout for season 2 of Ballviver hitting YouTube, hopefully sometime this spring.
Wonderful. And then Shane.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's always great to watch Survivor Syracuse episodes. Really excited for tomorrow. Season 2 of Scotty Survivor is airing on April 5th. And it is one that I am not only very proud of, but just I have never seen anything like this season in all the seasons I've seen of Survivor, and I'm not just saying that because I hosted it. These people are batshit crazy, so y'all should be in for a really exciting ride.
Fun. And then I'll give one to Madison. Here.
I'm really playing into my Leo star sign here, aren't I? But follow me on Instagram and Twitter, Madison A. Brownie. I follow back. Love making friends. But yeah. And this is Lily. Actually, Lily has an Instagram too, Lily B. Brownie. So that's all.
Word. All right, I'll do my quick little spiel. Thanks, guys, for watching. Tune into Survivor Syracuse Heroes vs. Villains, episode 6 tomorrow night. And also follow all these people on Instagram, watch their Survivor seasons, all that good stuff. And stay tuned for our very exciting Lesu 3 swap. All right. Sorry, guys. I just removed myself from the stream. Bear with me here. But anyway, great show, guys. Thank you all for coming on. Watch Survivor Syracuse. Watch Scotty Survivor. Watch Ballvivor. College Survivor is a great place. But yeah, thank you guys, and we will tune in next week.